Welcome back to Money Discourse. Back again with a new episode.
Yeah, we kept it within a month this time, so I'm glad about that.
Coming up, are the Fed going to rug pull us on Wednesday? Will Nvidia crash their AI bull run this week? How long can this rally last? Has Apple dropped the ball by reportedly using Google's Gemini AI rather than their own? And crypto, is there more to run? Rajan, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're getting to the back end of earnings season, and we've pretty much heard most of the companies all report now coming up to Q1, which is actually literally going to happen again in a few weeks. So normally the fourth quarter is the longest spread out quarter in terms of earnings and stuff like that. But so it's been interesting. The market is still strong. We spoke about it last time where pretty much the big caps are running this market, and it's the same again today where the Russell is flat to down. The overall breadth isn't really positive, but yet the Nasdaq is up almost 250 or 300 points because you got Google up 5-6%. You had Nvidia bouncing, although it's faded off the high. You got Apple now starting to join in the rally again. So I mean, this market is just totally driven by these mega caps, and what they do is what the overall market does. So the S&P up 44 handles, up about 0.9%, trading near another all-time high, and it's all just driven by the big caps. So. But the big thing is we do have the Fed on Wednesday. I mean, I think we spoke about it last time where a lot of the banks in their earnings had forecasted around 6 rate cuts. And but now we're going to see that's obviously going to be tempered quite a bit. And what is it going to be? 2? Is it going to be 3? Is it going to be 1? So the Fed language is going to be really interesting to see where they stand, because we saw in the last CPI print that things are leveling off around this 3%-ish mark, and it's not really now going to 2%. We're seeing oil rearing its head again. You're seeing some things starting to turn. And then if you look at actually a lot of this commentary from a lot of these companies, so we had Adobe report results last Thursday. And then if you look at pretty much all the companies that, while they had a decent fourth quarter or the current quarter that they're reporting, their outlook is pretty much, I would say, a good 60 to 70% of these companies' outlook has been a bit soft, citing macro and some customer hesitancy, a lot of backlog from pandemic that they're still trying to run through, which is dampening demand. And so there is a lot of that narrative going on right now. So again, and the thing that pushed all of this up was the softer Fed tone and, the talk about all these rate cuts. So again, I just don't see it really happening that much, because the market is still hot. The housing market is still hot. And because of the precarious situation where we've got such a lack of supply, any decent property that's up there is getting multiple offers. And it's pretty wild. And then as you talked about Apple, Tesla have not joined in this rally. So you just sort of think, where could this market be if Apple especially decided to join in? Because I mean, Apple has actually been negative or flat for the year, whereas Microsoft, Nvidia, and all of those other like Meta have just gone parabolic. So add Apple into the equation, we're going to 5,500 in the S&P. So I mean, it's interesting. You talked earlier about Google and Apple, and I mean, today Google's getting a pop because there's a talk from Bloomberg. Nothing's been finalized or nothing's concrete that Apple is looking to embed Gemini into their next iPhones, since everyone's talking all about AI and Apple has been pretty much absent from that conversation. The only big news Apple has done in the last couple of months is that they've dropped their car project after all of that time. They're making the car and go, no, we're just going to ditch $10 billion worth of R&D down the drain. And so I mean, this is where we're standing right now.
With this whole Google Apple partnership, is so surprising to me that this happened. I mean, it's fantastic for Google because there are fears that their search cash cow right now is going to be really detrimented by AI, those type of products. And also, they've had a massive gaffe over the last couple of weeks in terms of their Gemini model. You've probably seen it if you're on X. You say to make it a like a portrait of George Washington, it would show like a Native American George Washington or black one, and it's basically so woke that people have lost a lot of faith in it. And that's one thing that I'm really surprised at. I mean, it's fantastic for Google because they're going to have the partnerships of companies using their AI to kind of augment their offerings. It's a great revenue stream for Google to kind of offset their losses from search. But for Apple itself, it's like, I find it incredible that they're not able to come up with their own models. I mean, if you look at Elon Musk, has just thrown a couple of developers onto their Grok project, right? And they've just recently open sourced it. I was watching some videos on that. I'm really confused. Why is Apple not just developing their own? They've got great talent. Like, there's so many open source models that you can actually just take and make your own. They've got tons of data on so many users. Why would they?
It's not like they don't have the money for it. Let's put it this
Yeah,
way.
exactly.
It's like, I feel like there's a sense of panic going on at Apple that they're behind the train, and all these new phones with AI integrated, and they're like, okay, let's just get something in right now. We need some credibility. We need to pack some AI in, and what's the quickest way? Let's just join up with Google, and then let's make it happen. And then eventually they'll start getting their own thing in.
The only thing I can think of is that they are scared of the blowback for literally getting billions of users giving access to an AI model that would potentially give them bad publicity. So then, if they can just blame it on Google and say, "Oh, this is not our model. This is Google's fault that it's doing X, Y, and Z," maybe that's the only rationale behind it. Because if we're talking about market cap and like just basically increasing enterprise value, look what AI has done to Microsoft. Look what AI has done to a lot of these other companies. And literally, Apple could just add on another $500 billion by creating their own models. But now investors are saying that they're losing faith in Apple because iPhone sales are stagnating now. I mean, without an AI S curve to ride up, where's their future growth value?
Yeah, well, I mean, exactly. That's what it all comes down to at the end of the day. So, I mean, I feel like there's probably a bit of shareholder pressure all coming around, just like you mentioned, and so again, it is surprising considering how I feel like with their exactly what you said, but at the same time, there's a lot of smart people at that company. I'm sure there's some legit reason behind it and what was making them take that route. So I guess it will be interesting. I mean, their earnings ain't that far away, and if there is going to be an announcement on this, I'm sure we're going to probably hear about it pretty soon. And so I guess it's just time will tell in terms of what they plan to do. And then I'm sure in their earnings that they will address a lot of those questions that that you were just all asking there, to sort of see their rationale behind the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, there's a lot of interesting events this week. I mean, there's that news, and then we've got the Fed, like we mentioned, on Wednesday, and then we got Nvidia's GTC. So could be some big announcements out of Nvidia. Like, the world is waiting at Nvidia. Although it was a big company last year, now it's the third biggest company in the world, and the most actively traded stock and the most eyeballs on it, considering the mega run it's had this year. So, I mean, what do you see as potential catalysts in the upcoming GTC?
Yeah, I feel like it could be kind of like a buy the rumor, sell the news type thing, because they've got this 3-day event that's going on. Jensen is like now becoming like this new messiah. He's become the new like Elon of a couple of years ago, right? Like everyone's hanging on every word he says. Obviously, you've done a deep dive into Nvidia and all of the things that they've been working on. Like, a lot of people were asleep at the wheel. Including us, I guess, and not believing that the hype, especially, but now they've been executing on all cylinders, and there's just not enough supply for the amount of demand that they have. So yeah, the main thing is like, what are they going to announce? I think there's some big announcement that they've got planned there. I've actually got some like hedges on Tesla, because it could be something to do with like a self-driving or similar type project that could affect the perceived value in Tesla. I'm hedging, but I'm also very, very happy to see all of the videos that are coming out over this weekend on Tesla's full self-driving version 12.3. The amazing things it can do. It's like actually driving like a human, and even when it encounters some odd situations, it's doing what a human will be doing because of this end-to-end architecture. It's stunning what they're doing, and why I'm still very bullish Tesla, even though they're going to get probably hammered, especially on this earnings, because they're going to be turning a negative growth, is mainly because even if Nvidia does have something to do with self-driving, the main thing that they don't have is the data, right? They don't have millions of cars driving around, and that's exactly what all of these AI models are built on, data, right? And you're seeing even these amazing models like Sora coming out with OpenAI. They're trained on open data. that they can get from the web, YouTube, etc., etc. What do you think Nvidia is going to come out with?
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, I don't know what more they can do. I mean, obviously they're going to have. It's probably going to be honest, I'm not. We obviously know there's going to be like the Hopper 2.0, the H200. They released, they had the H100 last year, and looking back to last year's conference, they were just saying that like every year it's just going to grow more and more. It's going to come more powerful chips. It's going to able to save more power, become more efficient, become, and it's probably going to be cheaper for them to produce, and then everything like that was their first one that really got them in the game, and now you're going to just see these iterative improvements and to sort of, who knows, it's just to bring down the cost of running these LLM models now with their new versions, which in fact could just increase demand even more, and everything just feels very bullish for Nvidia. But again, the thing about all of these things we sort of know, but what people fail to realize is when they, when you talk to some people, they're just like, oh, they're going to do this, they're going to do this. The market already knows. Now the question is, Nvidia's got this massive valuation now, pretty much. So I was doing a bit of back of the napkin maths, and I mean, they put on $1.3 trillion in market cap this year almost, which accounts for, and basically the US stock market is worth around 26 trillion, 27 trillion. So Nvidia has basically accounted for 5% gain in the overall valuation of the whole stock market in a month or 2 months. That's how big this rise is. And this is, I don't know the exact number, but I'll be intrigued to see what percentage of this move is solely down to Nvidia. Because I mean, if the S&P is up, I don't know what it's up this year, but let's just say it's up, I actually don't know, about 10-15%. And then when you calculate that in terms of the overall market cap added so if it's 26, 27 trillion now, it must have been like 23 trillion, 24 trillion at the beginning of the year. And Nvidia accounts for 1.3 trillion of this 4 trillion move, 3 trillion move. So pretty much Nvidia is 40% of the whole move up, if I got the numbers correct, if I got the move so far right in the S&P. So it's pretty wild. And so coming back to your question at the beginning, what can break this rally? And the only thing that can really break this rally is a break in these big cap dominance, because you look at the Russell today, it's down. A lot of these smaller cap, mid caps are nowhere near their all-time highs, but you've got these handful of trillion-dollar market cap companies that will just racing. And then unless they give it up, then, nothing's going to give it up. In terms of the market, you might get little small pullbacks, few percent here or there, but you're not going to have anything meaningful unless you see an Nvidia go from like, what is it now, 900 odd to like 600 or 700, or Microsoft from 1410 to like 350 or 360 or something like that. So unless that sort of happens, I don't really see us going anywhere in terms of the overall indices. But clearly, a lot of the individual components, obviously, they can move quite a bit. So this is where it all comes down to. So I mean, if we look at the market, I mean, you see that move right there. It's pretty wild. If we look at I spoke about this end of October, we were at 41.29, and we're at now 51.54. So we put on 1,000 S&P points. That's basically 25% in the space of about 4 months, which is pretty crazy. 25% in an average 5, and then the Nasdaq is probably much more than that, but it's pretty incredible, this move. And then if you look at the trajectory of the move, it's not 45 degrees. This is probably a 70-degree angle upwards. I mean, this pace of rise is just unsustainable in my opinion. That's why I've been leaning short, been trying to take a lot of these short bets to try to counter what I feel is quite a bit of irrational exuberance. But again, if you look at it in the headline, it is just incredible, but it doesn't represent the whole market. It's just the overall, it's just the big caps as usual, just running this whole thing up. So I don't know. I'd still rather be on the sidelines or be short, but who knows how much further this can go up? That's the question.
Yeah, I don't think that the AI bull run is coming to an end anytime soon. There's so much value creation going on at the moment with these AI models. The main thing is like who's going to monetize it the most? Because you see, sometimes like I'm looking at Microsoft Copilot. I've been using them and they're phenomenal. But like on an individual basis, it's only $10 a month. Like $10 a month. Like it's way more valuable than that. Like it's sped up some of my workflows by like 200-300%. I would have to pay tens of thousands of dollars to try to get done what this is doing. It's like having two junior developers just right next to you and you're just telling them what to do. And the pricing is so cheap. And the thing is, it's just a race down to the bottom. But so you need to have a use case for this AI, which going back to Tesla, if they manage to use this end-to-end neural nets to get driving, it's just a massive game changer to have AI, like end-to-end neural networks doing the driving. Again, there's probably a bunch of these new things that we're going to see, but right now these agents, there's one called Devin. I'm not sure if you've seen it on X. It's like this agent GPT programmer where you can actually tell it to write a whole program and it does agent-like activities, not just giving you answers. So those type of things for developers as well is going to be a game changer. And for those who don't know how to program, you're seeing a lot of people on X talking about that they've made X, Y, and Z programs, not knowing how to code, and obviously that's a game changer as well. But again, where's the value creation for these software-based companies? It seems like it's like a gold rush where the Nvidia is selling the picks and shovels and wheelbarrows. So I don't see it coming to an end anytime soon, but eventually there will be some kind of reckoning. And I think it's all down to who can have the most efficient compute and bringing these models down in size to be really more efficient on processing. But I still think Sam Altman said it right. Compute is the most valuable commodity over the next 10 years.
Yeah, I see right now the momentum is strong. Like you said, I don't expect anything to slow down anytime soon. But something else that's had a lot of momentum is crypto, and crypto has gone parabolic. We've seen Bitcoin top 70,000 is retraced a bit, but again, you could sort of see the same type of behavior that you have seen in past crypto bull runs, where everyone starts to take wind and start pumping things up, and then the trajectory gets more and more steeper as the price goes higher. And so, I was reading this one thing earlier that Bitcoin, not Bitcoin, Shiba, some whales have started entering and really put some money to work. And then, you know what it is? You see these coins like Floki and Bonk and this and that have higher market caps than 70% of the S&P 500. And you just sort of think, this is just a meme coin with an idea and a whole bunch of people behind it. And then all of a sudden it's worth 3 billion, 2 billion. And it's just insane. But it just shows that while some things that you got that really needs value behind it, you need to show things, and other things you just need a bunch of degenerates just pushing that shit up, and then next thing you're getting 30, 40, 50%, 100% rises on some of these coins, which is it's incredible. And you know what it is at the end of the day, there's a massive just boiler room scam just going on with not all coins, don't get me wrong, with a lot of these big coins near the top end of the valuation chart, but all these other stuff going on down the line, they're all just getting fed. Like I'm pretty sure people, on X or Reddit and everything, they're like, our next pump is here. Make sure you get in, put enough money, and we're going to pump this up. Our previous pumps have done this. Our previous pumps have done that. This is your chance to make a killing, and this and that. And then you see all these screenshots of all these people playing these pumps and stuff like that. And then you just go, yeah, I mean, are we getting close to the end right now? So I mean, I'm sure a lot of people, they've got just a bunch of crypto just that been hanging around for ages. So a lot of the crap that I had around for ages is now all of a sudden worth something. So I'm just, one mistake I made in the past is that I just kept on thinking it's going to go up and I never took anything off. So now I'm just taking bits off again. And then, I didn't have no stable coins. Now got like quite a bit of USDC and stuff. And then if it all goes back down again, redeploy. And if it carries on going up, oh, well, that's life. What are you going to do? So,
yeah, it seems like a bit of a rinse and repeat type thing, because like, I guess, we've seen this cycle a couple of times now, and we always know how it turns out. So when is the best time to get out is the main thing, right? When does the bubble pop? But, we've seen Bitcoin come off its highs. It's around like 67,000 at the moment. But also we have to look at MicroStrategy, down almost 15%. Actually, it was more than 15%.
But do the year to date on MicroStrategy. Do the year to date.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's gone from 500. So this is the thing. MicroStrategy, that is one incredible rise. I mean, it's just insane,
But yeah, one of the things is, why does MicroStrategy have such a large premium over Bitcoin? You're looking at over like a kind of 2x beta, and then you're seeing Sailor selling convertibles at the company level, and basically it seems very well. People are saying that it seems kind of a bit Ponzi-ish because he issues and then like converts to buy Bitcoin, right, and that drives up the price of Bitcoin, which then drives up his equity value in MicroStrategy. Then he sells the stock, and then he does it again, and he does it again. He's
maybe it's a smart scheme,
Yeah.
Because
when does the arbitrage break down? We saw it in a USDT, a while back. Like, it works until it doesn't. So when does that?
See, so what it is, I don't know the exact numbers, but I know when we previously hit a low of around 15,000 on Bitcoin, 16,000. From what I heard, again, I don't know if it's true, but we were near the limits of where MicroStrategy could tolerate Bitcoin going lower. Like, I feel like if it went to 10, 12, 10, 11, 12, he could have been done, right? But now, when you're still buying Bitcoin at 70,000, and at 58, 59,000, it's not like he hasn't got enough exposure. It's not like he can say that, oh, I've got enough Bitcoin. Like, why is he doing another 500 million round at 70,000? I mean, isn't his holding of a few billion enough? It seems a bit sus that he's deploying that much more at an all-time high when he whatever he was doing for the whole year. So now the thing is that when you're buying at 70,000, inevitably you're bringing your average up. So if we have any type of correction, anything similar to that, oh, I tell you what, like, what's the biggest thing that kills? Leverage, right? I'm sure most traders, myself included, have been painfully aware of the dangers of leverage being wiped out. And again, he's a smart dude. And again, I totally understand his Bitcoin, his reasoning, but why is he buying at 70,000 when he's got billions already? That's the thing that seems a bit sus,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and it seems like, because it's all about pumping the price. It's not like, let's obviously, he completely disappeared off the scene when Bitcoin was like 15K, and then now you see him everywhere, and you see him in all these posts on X, and all these shorts that he's always talking like the Messiah. Yeah, it just really, like, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, there's a lot of people. Look, Chamath said that he sees Bitcoin, passing 100K, and he's obviously got quite a pulse on these things. So I actually think that it's going to happen.
But this is the problem. So someone actually made a good point. They go, everyone seems like this. Well, it appears that it's inevitable Bitcoin's going to get to 100,000. It goes, well, it's going to take 70 and go to 100. But when everybody is so positioned one way for something to happen, generally it doesn't work out that way. Like, it just seems like everyone seems so nonchalant about it. Where it goes, well, you look at the cycles. We were, last time a high was 20,000, and then we went to 60,000. And now we're going to go here. See, this is what it comes down to, right? When you get to bigger numbers, more money is needed to bring it to a higher level. Now, Bitcoin valuation right now, what is it, like 1.3 trillion or something, 1.4 trillion, something like that. Don't know off the top of my head. But now to get to 100,000, it's got to basically go up another $700 billion in value. And then to go to 150,000, it needs to go up another trillion on top of that. So it's easier to be worth 200 billion to go to 400 to 600 to 800. But as soon as you start getting to bigger numbers, that's when things start plateauing, because then you need the real
Nvidia
push.
Tell that to Nvidia.
This is it. Well, I mean, Nvidia clearly showed that it can do it. But the thing about Nvidia is, got probably every fund in the world that's like, shit, we need to buy Nvidia. And then you've got all that money on the sideline pushing Nvidia up like crazy. And maybe the same thing happens with Bitcoin. Like, everybody's with all these Bitcoin ETFs, everyone's like, yeah, got to get in. Let's push this shit to 150,000. So anyway, we'll see what happens. But generally, as soon as you start getting to these massive numbers, things start plateauing. And I know they'll compare it to gold. I know they'll compare it to the US dollar system, this and that. Show me a real use case other than capital appreciation. And then that's when things start talking. Because right now, regardless of all the talk and all the hype and all the everything, and don't get me wrong, I got crypto, it would be great if it went up. But there's still no real commercial viable use case of crypto where someone can go somewhere and just go, yeah, I'll pay with that with a bit of Ethereum, other than just models to farm for yield and, yield farming and staking to get more yield, just a whole bunch of DeFi. And they're talking about fast transactions from one to another person, which is fine. But again,
I think the main thing that crypto is going to be very, very useful for is when AIs need to transact. When these agents are doing work and someone like we were talking about before, Copilot is too cheap at $10 a month, right? But when you're getting these agents doing a certain amount of work, it'd probably be on some kind of microtransaction basis. Now I don't know what crypto is going to take that mantle. It needs to be super, super cheap and super, super secure. Probably centralized. That's the thing. Would it be decentralized? Is there a use case for decentralization when it comes to all of these things? I don't know. It seems like other bull runs have been longer. We're talking about.
I think about this bull run. I think this bull run, it hasn't been gradual.
Yeah.
It's like, do you know, like Solana? Yeah, that really haunts me because it was $20 for about a year and a half, 2 years. It's now 205. It's like 10x, right? And it's happened at such a breakneck speed that at the end of the day, that could be a bull run that could have happened over 6 months, but in fact, it just happened over like a couple of months, or so it's these moves that are just happening so fast. And history has showed me that when something moves up so fast and everybody gets this mentality in their head that I can't sell it now. Look, I'm going to miss another 20%, which could be true, but generally, then before you know it, you've lost everything. And I mean, not lost everything, but it's recovered. Like, look at those. You look at. I got a notification on my phone that Matterport is like $1.20. I remember I sold it out at 32. And then Lucid's in the $2 range, and not saying that's going to happen to like crypto, a lot of them, but
we have a lot of hyping right now. I do see it. Even Standard Charter, I think, said that Bitcoin's going to rally to 150,000 this year and get to 250,000 by 2025. Now, I don't know about that, but it's like, why are these big institutions pumping? What do they know? We were talking about in the last ep how we've got a lot of these billionaires selling at the moment. Is this the one time that they sell too early? I don't know.
But that's what we always think in a bull run. But the thing is that we just have to remember this, and in 6 months, let's talk and then see where we are, and then just go, we saw the signs, but we did nothing, or the signs were there and it didn't matter. Like, we'll find out. That's the thing. It's always tough. We just don't know where we are in the cycle. Are we near the beginning, the middle, or the end? We just don't know until.
So now, just predictions. What do you think the Fed is going to do? Are they going to rug pull us a little? Or do you think that, my personal take is they're going to slowly, they don't want to break things, but they're going to slowly, move the dot plot across and up slightly, just very slightly in this meeting. They're going to indicate that they're going to try to get to 2 rate cuts this year, probably just before the election. But it doesn't seem like they need to actually lower rates. The economy seems to be doing okay at the moment. They want to have the opportunity that when things do break, they can lower rates, not just lower rates and then hope nothing goes wrong. What do you reckon?
Pretty much the same. Like, the things, like you said, the unemployment rate, the job market, according to NFP numbers, seem to be going great. The stock market at all-time highs. If they do break break some hearts a little bit, I said, what are we going to do? Come off a couple of percent, 2-3%? Every time they do it, the market just rallies anyway, right? So the thing is that in those type of things, there's no real pressure, but where the pressure really comes is how much are the people feeling it? What are they seeing on the ground that you don't see in these economic numbers? And because if you just look at purely at the economic numbers, there's no real need to do any more than a couple. You're starting to see CPI level off. So, and then you've got people talking about things are still so expensive, things are unaffordable. And I feel like there's so much pent up demand, especially in the housing market. You know, any meaningful cut in rates and we're just going parabolic, because again, there's a lot of wealth still being created. $1.3 trillion worth of Nvidia wealth has gone somewhere, right? But it ain't going to the right people. It's going to the people that's already got the money. Now they got too much more money. So the thing is there's been a $3 to $4 trillion worth of stock market wealth added on, crypto wealth, all of these assets, and there's a lot of money out there. So I feel like CPI has the potential to really accelerate again should the Fed be too aggressive to the downside. So I think they're going to be a very cautious tone, and just like you said, maybe a slight downside risk to the dot plot, but we'll see. But yep. But yeah, as we close this out, another strong day in the market. Nasdaq, as always, leading it. Russell down 1/3%. Small caps just not
getting any love.
Not getting love because there's not enough mentions of AI or whatever it is. But yeah,
we need to get some rate cuts for them to see some love, right? I guess.
That's right. That's right. Much more impacted by the macro, which seems, like I said at the beginning, seems to be a lot more prominent, especially a lot of the commentary out there. But yeah, but if you like what you heard, please like and subscribe, and yeah, we'll catch you on the next one.